Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell. Tazy Tech LLC is just getting started. We've all heard the stories, you know the ones. The success stories, the hype, the bright-eyed new graduate who lands their first junior dev job right out of college and suddenly starts building the next big thing. It's the dream, right? You spend all those years learning to code, battling bugs, and putting in late-night study sessions, and now you're finally here. You're about to enter the world of software development. You're about to start your first real job. But here's the thing, it's not all rainbows and code snippets. Junior dev jobs, the ones that everyone seems to glorify, it can actually be a lot more complicated and frustrating than anyone warns you about. We see these posts online from companies boasting about their inclusive, junior-friendly environments, but no one tells you what it's really like to be thrown into the deep end with just a few months of real-world experience under your belt. This, my friend, is the truth about junior dev jobs, the one no one talks about. And today I'm going to lay it all out, so buckle up because this might just change your perspective on what it really means to start your career in tech. Let's start with something most people ignore, the reality of your skill level. When you land that junior dev job, you're probably thinking, okay, I know a decent amount of coding. I know the basics of JavaScript, Python, or whatever language you've been mastering. But here's the cold truth, knowing the basics is just scratching the surface. What you think you know about programming might be enough to get you through some simple tasks, but in the real world, it's a whole different ballgame. Sure, you might be able to write clean, simple code, but when you're faced with a legacy code base, an urgent bug that's impacting the entire product, or a client who doesn't really understand the technology but still wants you to make their vision a reality, you're going to start feeling overwhelmed. All those textbooks and tutorials didn't prepare you for this. They didn't prepare you for the complexity of the code that's been handed down through years of different developers, or the way problems arise that simply aren't addressed in any documentation. This is where your learning curve begins to soar. You know what they don't tell you about junior dev roles? That the imposter syndrome is real. It hits hard. There's this overwhelming pressure to keep up with your team, to meet deadlines, to feel like you belong. You might look around the office or at your virtual team, and everyone else seems to know exactly what they're doing. You might even hear about a new tool or framework, and your first instinct will be to think, how am I supposed to know this? The truth is, you won't know everything. No one expects you to. But that doesn't stop the internal voice that tells you, you're not good enough. It's that feeling that makes you want to keep quiet when you're struggling, even when you know you should ask for help. It's not easy to admit when you're struggling, but trust me, you're not alone in feeling that way. Every single junior dev goes through this. Now, let's talk about something else that no one really talks about: the constant learning. In the classroom, you learn specific skills. You're given assignments, and you know exactly what's expected of you. You write a program, it works most of the time, and you feel good about yourself. But in a junior dev job, the learning never stops. The moment you finish one task, you're on to the next. And guess what? You might not even be working on what you thought you'd be working on. When you step into the real world, the tasks you're given might feel like they have nothing to do with what you spent years learning in school. Here's the thing, you'll spend a lot of time learning on the job. And that's okay. You're going to need to pick up new frameworks, dive into new tools, and adjust to different coding practices. You'll need to pick up speed quickly, and at times, it might feel like you're drowning in the sea of new information. It can be frustrating and it can be exhausting, especially when you don't feel like you're getting the proper support. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're always playing catch up. But here's the kicker, this is actually where you grow the most. If you allow yourself to embrace the discomfort and be open to learning, you'll see your skills improve at a rate that would blow your mind. And no, it won't happen overnight. But over time, you'll look back and realize how much you've learned. Let's talk about another thing that no one prepares you for: the unpredictability of it all. When you start, you might have a sense of what your days will look like. You'll probably have some coding to do, some meetings to attend, maybe some project management tools to check. But what they don't tell you is how things never go according to plan. A bug you thought would be easy to fix suddenly turns into a multi-day investigation. A feature that seems simple at first turns out to require input from multiple departments. And the worst part, you're often working on something that's incredibly urgent, even though you feel like you're barely keeping up with everything else. The fast-paced environment can feel like a roller coaster. You'll have some days where everything clicks and you feel like you're on top of the world. But then there are days when it feels like nothing is going right, and that sense of doubt creeps back in. The project deadlines loom, and you can feel that pressure building both from your team and from yourself. The constant juggling of tasks, deadlines, and problem solving can be mentally exhausting. But this is part of the ride, and trust me, you'll learn to handle it. The truth is, junior dev roles are far from what they seem. The learning is relentless, and the challenges can feel insurmountable, and the pressure to perform can sometimes make you feel like you're hanging by a thread. But here's the thing that no one tells Yug: this is where the magic happens. This is the time where you forge your resilience. This is the time where you start to feel the satisfaction of overcoming obstacles, of tackling problems that once seemed impossible. But that doesn't mean the journey is smooth. No, it's messy, unpredictable, and full of surprises. And the part no one talks about, the part where you finally begin to break through, is something that might just surprise you. And that's where I'll leave you for now. Because what happens next in the life of a junior dev, the real breakthrough moments that change everything? Well, that's exactly what we'll dive into in part 2. Stay tuned, the best part of the story is just beginning. So you've got your junior dev job, and you're ready to dive into the world of programming. You've heard the stories, your peers talking about their incredible first days, their rapid growth, their ability to solve complex problems within weeks. But let's be real for a second, it's not always like that. The journey isn't linear. There will be days when you feel like you're learning 1,000s at once and not making any real progress. The truth is, most junior devs face a rough start. The initial excitement quickly fades away, replaced by confusion, doubt, and frustration, and that's okay. Number 1, the steep learning curve will hit hard when you first step into your dev job. There's a pretty steep learning curve. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. As a junior, you'll be exposed to a vast array of tools, frameworks, and coding practices, many of which you may have never encountered in your self-taught journey. The code bases will be massive, complicated, and sometimes downright intimidating. You might be working with a legacy system that hasn't been touched in years, and suddenly you're expected to understand it, refactor it, and even improve it. It's like walking into a jungle with no map and no compass, trying to make sense of the tangled mess around you. But this is where the real learning begins. You'll have to deal with tons of new concepts, patterns, and ways of thinking about programming that aren't necessarily taught in coding bootcamps or online courses. You won't be expected to know everything right away, but the expectation to figure things out quickly will definitely be there. Your first couple of months might feel like a haze of confusion. It's normal. As long as you embrace the chaos and keep pushing through, it will eventually make sense. Number 2. Imposter syndrome will creep in and stay for a while. One of the most common struggles junior devs face is imposter syndrome. It's that nagging feeling that you don't belong in your job, that you're not good enough, or that you're faking it will be exposed at any moment. You'll look around at your colleagues, most of whom have years of experience, and think, how did I get here? Am I really cut out for this? The truth, everyone feels this at some point, even the most experienced developers. It's not unique to you. It's easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to others, especially when they seem so comfortable with the work you're still struggling to understand. But here's the thing, they've been where you are. They've been the junior dev in the room, learning the ropes, making mistakes, and feeling out of their depth. Imposter syndrome can be debilitating, but it's also a sign that you care. It shows that you want to improve, that you want to be good at your job. Use that to fuel your growth, not as a sign that you're a fraud. Over time, as you grow more comfortable and skilled, imposter syndrome will fade away, but it might always linger in the background. The key is not letting it stop you from learning and progressing. Number 3, you won't always be solving big, exciting problems. One of the most disillusioning aspects of being a junior dev is realizing that your job isn't always about tackling groundbreaking problems. Early on, you'll likely be tasked with mundane, repetitive tasks, writing tests, fixing typos in documentation, cleaning up code, or even updating the company's website. These might be the kinds of tasks you find yourself working on at first. It's not glamorous. It's not the exciting projects you dreamed about when you first started learning how to code. But here's the thing, those seemingly small, boring tasks are part of the process. They're stepping stones to bigger and better things. By taking care of the small details, you're learning the fundamental skills that will make you a better developer in the long run. Your job is to learn, and sometimes learning happens through repetition. In time, you'll graduate from fixing typos to working on more complex features. But remember that the boring stuff is just as important as the exciting stuff. Number 4, the team will become your lifeline when you're just starting out. It can be easy to feel like you're on your own, struggling to stay afloat in a sea of unknowns. But here's something no one tells you: your team is the most valuable resource you'll have. At first, you might feel like a burden to your colleagues, constantly asking questions or asking for clarification. But trust me, they want to help you. They were once in your shoes, and they understand what it's like. Don't be afraid to lean on them for support. A good team will offer advice, mentorship, and constructive feedback. They'll help you grow and ensure you don't get stuck in the weeds. The more you learn to communicate with your team, whether it's asking for help, providing updates on your progress, or discussing challenges, the more you'll realize that you're not alone. The dev world is collaborative, and the sooner you embrace this, the faster you'll develop. Number 5, mentorship will be crucial, but it won't always be perfect. A great mentor can make all the difference in your growth as a junior dev. Unfortunately, not all teams provide the mentorship that you need. Sometimes your mentor might be too busy with their own tasks to give you the time and attention you crave. Sometimes, they've been deeper than they might not know how to teach effectively, or they might not even realize they're failing to guide you. It's disappointing when you're eager to learn but find yourself stumbling through on your own. If that's the case, don't be afraid to seek out other mentors. Maybe it's a more experienced developer at another company, or perhaps it's someone you met through a meetup or online community. The key is to not the lack of mentorship slow you down. Take initiative. Learn from multiple sources, ask questions, build your own network of developers who can help guide you. And if you do have a great mentor, treasure them. It's an opportunity that can fast-track your career, and a good mentor will help you grow not just as a developer, but as a professional. Number 6, burnout can happen, and it's real. The junior dev life isn't all fun and games. In fact, it can be quite exhausting. Between long hours of coding, learning new frameworks, dealing with bugs, and keeping up with deadlines, it's easy to burn out. The pressure to prove yourself, to keep up with your colleagues, and to constantly improve can start to take its toll. It's not uncommon for junior devs to feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and even question their decision to pursue this career path. It's important to acknowledge burnout when it happens. Don't push yourself too hard. Set boundaries, take breaks, make sure you're sleeping well, eating healthy, and finding time to recharge. A well-rested mind is far more productive than one that's constantly running on empty. And if you ever feel like you're nearing burnout, talk to someone. Whether it's a colleague, a manager, or even a friend outside of work. It's important to keep the conversation open and to let others know when you're struggling. You don't have to go through it alone. Number 7. You'll make mistakes, a lot of them. If you think you'll come into your junior dev role and immediately start writing perfect code, think again. You will mess up a lot. The code will break. The project will fail. You'll make decisions that in hindsight seem like mistakes, but this is where the growth happens. The ability to make mistakes, learn from them, and move on is one of the most important skills you can develop as a junior dev. Don't be afraid to fail. Everyone does it. And the most successful developers are the ones who learn quickly from their mistakes. Be honest about your errors, take responsibility, and ask for feedback. It will help you avoid repeating the same mistakes and accelerate your learning process. Number 8, imposter syndrome will fade, but it might never fully go away as you gain experience. Imposter syndrome will gradually lessen. You'll get more comfortable with the tools, technologies, and coding practices. You'll begin to trust yourself more, and the overwhelming feeling of doubt will slowly disappear. But here's the twisting: it might never fully go away. Even as a senior developer, you'll still have moments when you doubt yourself. The difference is, as you gain experience, you'll know how to manage those feelings. You'll have the skills to reassure yourself that you belong, that you've earned your place in the field, and that the journey of self-doubt is a natural part of the process. In conclusion, the junior dev experience is tough. It's humbling, confusing, and at times frustrating. But it's also incredibly rewarding. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to learn, and every mistake you make is a lesson in disguise. Don't be afraid to lean on your team. Ask questions and make mistakes. As long as you keep pushing forward and learning from each step, you'll find that those days of doubt and just struggle are hurdles on the path to becoming a great developer. So hang in there, trust the process. The truth is, everyone goes through it. You're not alone. And Eventually, you'll look back and realize that all those challenges helped shape you into the developer you are meant to be.